It's 2 a.m. You've been up for the third time tonight. Your baby was just asleep. You put her down gently, you held your breath, you tiptoed out of the room like you were defusing a bomb. And then, 30 seconds later, she's awake again, crying again. And you're standing in the hallway thinking, what am I doing wrong? Here's the truth nobody tells you at the hospital. You're not doing anything wrong. Your baby's sleep isn't broken, and neither are you. What's actually happening inside your baby's brain at 2 a.m.? That's what this video is about. And once you understand it, I promise, everything changes. When our daughter was around 8 weeks old, we genuinely thought something was wrong with her. 3 nights in a row, she slept for 4 hours straight. We thought we'd cracked it. We were telling other parents our secret. We were feeling smug. Night 4. Up every 45 minutes. We did everything the same. Same room temperature, same white noise, same bedtime routine, same everything. And she just wouldn't stay asleep. We Googled everything. We read every forum. And most of what we found made us feel worse, like we were failing at something other parents had figured out. The thing nobody told us, and the thing I want to tell you right now, is that what we were experiencing wasn't a problem. It was biology. And once we understood why it was happening, the 2 a.m. wake-up stopped feeling like failure and started feeling manageable. Here's what's actually happening. Adults and babies don't sleep the same way. When you sleep, you go through what scientists call a sleep cycle. It runs roughly 90 minutes. During that cycle, you move through different stages: light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep, and then briefly surface before the next cycle begins. Most of the time, adults pass through that surfacing moment without fully waking up. We've learned to do it automatically. Your baby's sleep cycle is completely different. A newborn cycle runs around 45 to 50 minutes, half the length of yours. And here's the critical part. At the end of every single cycle, your baby surfaces into light sleep. And unlike you, they haven't yet learned how to slip back into the next cycle on their own. So what do? They look for whatever helped them fall asleep in the first place. If they fell asleep feeding, they want feeding. If they fell asleep being rocked, they want rocking. If they fell asleep in your arms, they want your arms. And if those things aren't there when they surface at the end of a cycle, they fully wake up and they cry. This isn't manipulation. This isn't a habit you created by loving them too much. This is a nervous system that is still learning how the world works. The scientific term for this is a sleep association. And every single baby on the planet has them. The question isn't whether your baby has sleep associations. They all do. The question is whether those associations require your involvement to reset. Now, if your baby is somewhere around 3 to 5 months old, and sleep has suddenly gotten dramatically worse, I need you to hear this clearly. That is not a step backwards. That is a brain upgrade. Around 4 months, something remarkable happens inside your baby's brain. Their sleep architecture, the internal structure of how they cycle through sleep stages, begins to reorganize. It starts to look more like adult sleep. More stages, more transitions between cycles, more opportunities to surface. This is called the 4-month sleep regression, and almost every parenting resource describes it as a problem to survive. It's not. It's your baby's brain becoming more sophisticated, more capable. The reason sleep gets harder is because the brain is doing more during sleep than it ever has before. It's processing everything your baby has experienced. It's building neural connections. It's doing the overnight work that turns a newborn into a curious, engaged, learning human being. Yes, it's exhausting for you, but it's extraordinary for them. And here's the reassurance I wish someone had given us. It doesn't last forever. Most babies move through the 4-month regression in 2 to 6 weeks, not 2 to 6 months, weeks. Here's the question we got asked most by other parents when we talked about our daughter's sleep. But you're doing the same routine every night. Why does it work one night and not the next? Great question. And the answer comes down to 3 things that most parents don't realize are affecting their baby's sleep every single night. Number 1, the wake window. A wake window is the amount of time your baby can comfortably stay awake between sleep periods before they become overtired. And overtired babies, counterintuitively, are actually harder to settle than babies who aren't quite tired enough yet. Here's why. When a baby gets overtired, their brain triggers a cortisol release, that's a stress hormone, to keep them going. And cortisol actively works against sleep. So by the time you're trying to settle an overtired baby, their own stress hormones are fighting you. At around 2 months, the wake window is roughly 60 to 90 minutes. By 4 months, it stretches to about 90 minutes to 2 hours. By 8 months, most babies can manage 2 to 3 hours comfortably. Getting this window right is often the single biggest change parents can make to their baby's sleep, and it has nothing to do with the bedtime routine itself. Number 2, the sleep association reset problem. We talked about this earlier, but here's the practical consequence. If your baby falls asleep feeding, in your arms or with a dummy, and then you put them down, when they surface at the end of their first sleep cycle, the thing they fell asleep with is gone. And that mismatch between what they fell asleep with and what they wake up to is often the entire reason they wake up. This doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means understanding the mechanism gives you a choice about how you want to respond. Number 3, overstimulation earlier in the day. Research consistently shows that babies who experience high levels of stimulation in the hours before bed, bright lights, loud sounds, lots of activity, screen exposure, take longer to settle and wake more frequently. Your baby's nervous system is incredibly sensitive. What feels like a normal evening to you, television on, lights up, conversation, can register as overwhelming input for a baby whose brain is still learning to filter the world. Dimming lights an hour before bed, lowering voices, reducing activity. These aren't just routines. They're signals to your baby's nervous system that the world is becoming safe and quiet for sleep. Okay, so now you understand the why. Let's talk about what actually helps, based on what the research shows, not what the internet argues about. First, consistent sleep cues, not a rigid schedule. The most important thing your baby's brain needs isn't a clock-perfect schedule. It's a predictable sequence of events that signals sleep is coming. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Bath, dim light, a specific song, feeding, put down. The same 4 or 5 things in the same order every night. Your baby's brain starts to associate that sequence with sleep onset. Over time, usually 2 to 4 weeks of consistency, the sequence itself becomes a sleep trigger. Second, drowsy but awake. This is the most evidence-backed principle in infant sleep research. Instead of waiting until your baby is fully asleep in your arms before putting them down, try putting them down when they're drowsy but still just conscious. I'll be honest, the first few nights of this are harder, not easier. Your baby may protest. They may need more settling than usual. But what you're doing is giving them the opportunity to practice that last step of falling asleep in their cot, so that when they surface at the end of a sleep cycle, the environment matches what they fell asleep in, and they can drift back without fully waking. This one change, done consistently, is what researchers point to most often as the shift that leads to longer stretches of independent sleep. Third, go easy on yourself. There is no method that works perfectly for every baby. There is no routine that eliminates all-night waking. Babies wake up. It's what they're supposed to do. The goal isn't a baby who never wakes. The goal is a parent who understands what's happening and knows how to respond in a way that feels right for their family. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Your baby is not waking up to frustrate you. They're waking up because their brain is working, because their nervous system is developing, because at the end of every sleep cycle, they're looking for the one thing that makes them feel safe. And that thing is almost always you. That's not a parenting failure. That's attachment. And attachment is exactly what you want to be building in the first year of your baby's life. The sleepless nights won't last forever. I know that doesn't help at 2 a.m. But understanding why they're happening That does help, because it turns 2 a.m. from a moment of failure into a moment of biology. And biology you can work with. If this video helped you, subscribe to Tiny Human Lab. Every week, we take one thing about your baby that's confusing or worrying you, because the more you understand your baby's brain, the more confident you become. And confident parents raise secure babies. We'll see you in the next one.